Hello everyone, and thank you for taking time to watch these videos. Before we get into this midweek video, I want to apologize. I didn't do one last week. I was on a planning retreat and trying to plan out next year's teaching series and events and all of those kind of things. And with COVID, as you can imagine, it's a bit of a challenge. So anyway, I didn't do one last week. So again, I apologize for that. This week, I want to continue a thought that I brought up this last week when we were talking about the fact that with Jesus, he's not only the one who transferred us out of this kingdom of darkness into this kingdom of light. We also talked about the fact that he is the creator, designer, and sustainer of all creation. And that I really saw that as a huge benefit because we're really seeing what the original intent of what God's intent for us actually is. And so I would like to read something for you right now that I think is very compelling, and I think it's very thought-provoking and worth some time thinking through. So we've been in the book of Colossians, and we've been reading out of chapter 1, but I want to skip over to chapter 3. And I want to read you a section of something that Paul says here that I find very, very important, but I also find it very, very good news. So listen to this. It says this: "So put to death the sinful earthly things lurking in you. Have nothing to do with sexual immorality, impurity, lust, and evil desires. Don't be greedy, for a greedy person is an idolater, worshiping the things of this world. Because of these sins, the anger of God is coming. You used to do these things when your life was still part of this world, but now is the time to get rid of," now listen to this, "anger, rage, malicious behavior, slander, dirty language. Don't lie to each other, for you have stripped off your old sinful nature and all of its wicked deeds. Put on your new nature and be renewed as you learn to know the Creator or your Creator and be like Him," talking about Jesus. "In this new life, it doesn't matter," get this, "if you are Jew or Gentile, circumcised, uncircumcised, barbaric, uncivilized, slave, or free. Christ is all that matters, and He lives in all of us. Since God chose you to be holy people He loves, clothe yourselves with tender-hearted mercy, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Make allowance for each other's faults and forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, and you must forgive others. Above all, clothe yourself with love, which binds us together in perfect harmony, and let the peace of Christ rule your hearts." Now, the reason why I think that sounds really good, like really good news, is because it is. Right now, if you look at our culture and everything that's taking place right now, you look at all the rage, the anger, the greed, the slander, the malicious behavior, all of those things we're seeing on a huge scale right now. And we're seeing the frustrations that people are having, and it's actually boiling over into some of these behaviors. And I think the reason why is because deep within all of us, we all have this desire to belong and to be valued and to be looked at for who we are and what we can contribute and all of those things. And so when Jesus talks about the fact that He has transferred us out of this kingdom of darkness and put us in this new kingdom, He says to strip off your old nature, or strip off the way you used to live over here that was categorized by all of those things like anger, slander, malicious behavior, all of those things. You don't have to be that way anymore. You can be a different way. And I love the good news about this. What is this different way? Well, it's mercy, kindness, compassion, love, forgiveness, being patient, long-suffering with people and their shortcomings. And doesn't that sound awesome? Doesn't that sound like a great gift and really good news that the things that we're seeing right now on the world stage in huge fashion of all this negativity coming from a place that they want all the things that Jesus says he can give us, we're seeing all that play out. And the answer is, you can have those things over here. You can be part of something, be part of a kingdom in which those things you deeply desire are actually the root foundations of what takes place over here in this kingdom of light. Now, what's really important about that, and this is what I love, is that, again, going back to Sunday, we talked about the fact that not only did Jesus make this transfer for us, but he also created everything. And so this is a very, very powerful concept. This idea of this kingdom of light and the characteristics of love and mercy and compassion and tenderheartedness and being patient with people in their shortcomings, all of those things, that isn't some new trend that just came out in the first century. That's not some new ideologies that just rose up. These actually were in the heart of our Creator. It was his original intent. It was his original idea that things actually be this way. Actually, recorded in the New Testament, we hear this story where one of the places that Paul went to, he actually took a collection of money and he went to another province, another city that was struggling, and gave that to him. That was the first time we have that recorded. Nobody was doing that. You're sending money that people gave of themselves and gave of their work and sold possessions, etc., to help people they don't even know and they don't even understand. Well, why is that? That's because over here, greed isn't a powerful, fundamental ruling agent that is happening over here in this kingdom of darkness. Over here, we're seeing more of this, we're all in it together and we all belong together and we're all in unity. And it doesn't matter where you come from or what color your skin is. We all matter and we all care about each other, which is fundamentally opposite of what we see in this domain of darkness. And we see it played out with politicians and news media, the global scales, the riots, etc. All of that stuff that's happening over here is not God's intent. It was never his intent. His intent was over here that has a different ruling fundamental guidelines and values that are vastly different. So I just want to encourage you today to think through this, because people within our communities, they are desiring to be part of a community that, again, values them for them and wants to be part of something and wants to be included and not be looked at for the colors of their skin or where they come from, and where they don't come from doesn't work against them. They listen to this. It's exciting to be part of a community that is described by mercy and compassion, patience, forgiveness, peace. Doesn't that sound like good news? And what makes it even better is this was always the intent. It was always the way that things were supposed to be. And what we see is that God through Jesus is reconciling all of that. He is taking us out of this domain into this kingdom where it can be that way. It's just a choice for us to strip off this old way of thinking and being and put on a new way of being, a new way of thinking. So I just want to encourage you to think through this, and also think of people who you are in community with, maybe your coworkers, your friends, your family, that maybe need to hear this good news, that the things that they're longing for in their hearts, it actually can be, and it is right now, and it was always our Creator's intent. I pray that you will take some time this week to think through that, and that you will share some of this good news with people who are needing to hear it. I pray that this week you will experience the blessing of God and the peace of God.